Hi, all. Good morning. Let's just wait for a few minutes, then we will start. Okay. Okay. Hi, all. Good morning again. And let's start the session. First of all, let me share my screen. Mhm. Let me know, is my screen visible to you guys? Yes or no?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay. Thanks for confirming. Okay. So in the last class, we have discussed some settings in the Power BI. So this is our Power BI desktop UI page. And in the last class, I have shown some setting to be changed in the options and setting, and then we will go to options. And then here, let it, no. Here we have two options, global and current file. So in the global, in the data load, we have checked this one, never detect column data types. And for the regional settings, we have selected English US, and same for the current file. We have unchecked all these, and in the regional settings, we have selected English US. Okay. So these changes we have done in the last class, and also I have showed you how to save the file. And yeah, now let's try getting some actual data, and let's start with cleaning the data or profiling the data. Okay, so let's go and get the data then. So to get the data, we already know we have to click on this get data. Okay, and here need to select whatever the type of data you want to import. So I will try to import CSV file. So I will select text CSV, and from here I will just select this one, August 2017 and process. And then I will click on open. Okay, let it load. So here it will give me the option to either load it or transform it. So it will look like this. So just by have a look at this data, can you guys tell me, does it look like a clean data or uniform data, or does it look like non-uniform?
Non-uniform.
Non-uniform, correct. So therefore, we need to transform this data into a uniform data, or we have to clean this data. So for that, I will select transform data here. I will not select load, because if I will select this load, it will directly take me to the Power BI desktop here. And when I click on this transform data, a new window will open, which is this. And this window is known as Power Query Editor. Okay. This is just a subcomponent of the Power BI desktop. So you guys can see here we have two windows. This one is for Power BI desktop, and this one is for Power Query Editor. Okay. So yeah, so this is it. Now, just by having a look at this table, can you guys tell me from which row the actual data start?
Column 1. Order it.
Column one. Are you sure? Because we can see here for the column one, we don't have in the column one for this profile, we don't have anything, and for this column two, we have only transaction details, and the rest of these are empty. So, and can you guys tell me where are the column names start from?
From row number 5.
Correct. So from row number 5, the actual data is starting, and the rest of these rows are what are useless, right?
Yes.
Okay. So from row number 5, right, we have the actual data. So first of all, okay, let me just tell you one more thing. The left pane here, we can see the table name, okay, which is mentioned here. And on the right pane, you guys can see here, these, you can see applied steps. So whatever the steps we will apply on this table, it will appear here. Okay, so let me start by deleting certain rows. Okay, so here we are in the home tab. Okay, and unit, and here we have to delete this first four rows. Okay, so to delete this first four rows, we have this option remove rows. Okay, and when you click on this, okay, we have multiple options. Okay, so here we can select from these options whatever is convenient for us. Okay, so we will just start with remove top rows, and when I click on this, so it will ask me to how many rows you want to delete from the top. Okay, so if I will give two here, okay, and then if I will click on OK, so see it has removed the upper two rows. Again, if you will think that these two rows should also be deleted from this table, then you will go again this remove, and then you will just select remove top rows, and then again you will give mm, option here too, and that will be a lengthy process. So instead of this, by doing this step, and you can see when I have removed the first top two rows, we have this remove top rows in that applied steps. Okay, so rather than by going again into the remove rows and then again giving the number of rows to, and again deleting these two rows, we can just go over here in the applied step, and this is the gear icon. I will click on it, and I will just change the number of rows which I have given. I will change it to 4. I will click OK. Okay, so you can see there is no more rows on the top before these column names. Okay, so this is how we can remove the top rows. Okay, now as we have removed the top rows, now what is the next step that can be done, or that is to be done? Any guesses? Okay, can you see this first row? What is the first row actually?
Order ID,
This, no, this first row. I'm not just talking about this particular one. I'm just talking about the whole first row. What is this?
headers.
Headers, correct. Okay, so let's make them column headers. Okay, now if you again look clearly at the home tab, it's, yeah, see, use first row as headers. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, so if you again click on this, okay, to see the first row is converted into the table headers, and also see in the applied steps, you guys can see that the rows have been promoted to the headers. Okay, any dot till here? Yes or no?
No, no doubts.
Okay, shit, chat. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, now the next thing to be done is removing the blank rows. Okay, you guys can see there are some blank rows here in the first row, in the sixth row, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there you can see in this remove rows option, we have in the second last remove blank rows option, correct?
Yes.
And if you just hover over this, and it will give you the information, remove all blank rows from this table. Okay, so basically if you click on this, okay, all the rows which are totally blank will be removed. So if I do it, okay, now you see the rows which are completely which were completely blank, they have gone. Okay, there is no whole row which were blank and are still existing. But yeah, there are blanks in this, but that does not matter because the corresponding rows in the other columns, they are not blank. Like we have order ID here. Okay. Similarly, some of the more rows which are, yeah. So basically, the rows which were completely blank, okay, they are removed from here when we select this option, remove rows and remove blank rows. Okay, fine. Now let us try to go to the first column, which is this order ID. And this table is actually a fact table, basically. And do you guys know what is the difference between fact table and dimension table?
No, sir.
Okay, no. Okay, okay, maybe Chef Chandra also. Okay, let me explain that. Let me just give an example. So if I go to this particular table, where is that? Okay, fine. So this table. So this table, this is not what I brought into the Power BI, but let me explain what is the dimension table and the fact table. Okay. Now, if you see, it has three set of tables: order, returns, users. Correct? Now, the thing is, if I look into this particular table, that is the order tables. Okay. Now, the main purpose of the order table would be to give you the details of each and every order, right? Correct? And that is each and every transaction will be identified by its order number or this order ID. Okay. For example, let's just take this 20847. It consists of lot of details. See, it consists of lot of details. Lot of details in the sense the customer name, the shipping mode for the particular order. You can see that. Okay, so let me just come here. Yeah. So we can see that the customer name and all these stuffs, subcategory which it belongs to. But mainly, it consists of certain monetary details. Okay. So what are all those details? Okay. So you see there, here we have profit, which is being mentioned here, and then there is the sales, okay, which is mentioned here, and the quantities also, quantities, order new, and all of these things. Okay. Okay, so now these are actually the measures by which the businesses or the business can be analyzed. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Okay. And due to the presence of these measures, okay, so what are the measures? These are the measures: profit, order quantity, sales, and maybe also something else like the product base margin. Due to the presence of these columns in this particular table, this table is called as fact table. This is trying to give us the facts in terms of these measures. Whereas there is one more table, which is user. Okay, what it consists of, it just gives us a very small detail. What is that? region and the manager of that region. Now let me show you. There might be a region and all of these things. So you guys can see we have already a region column here. Okay. In the fact table, there is a region column. So this dimension table is just trying to give you the information about those regions. For central region, who is the manager? For east region, who is the manager? For south region, and for the west region, who is the manager? Okay. And similarly, there might be different dimension tables, like the customer information table, wherein you will be having details of the customer. Okay. And there may be their address and their details, like let's say their gender, their date of birth. Okay. So all those things, that would be customer dimension table. So see, so that's the primary difference between the dimension table and the fact table. Okay. So is it clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
So yeah. So this is important because let's say if you have not worked on the data analysis or maybe in this particular Power BI field, so these some of these things which are mentioning right now, the dimension table and the fact table, the difference between them should be clear. Okay. Okay, so let's move ahead with the Power BI now. So basically, a fact table will deal with the measures. Okay, the quantity, the sales, and all of this is the profit. And the dimension table will give you the details of that businesses. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the Power Query Editor now. So yeah. Okay. So now just by having a look at this table, okay. Now can anyone tell me, is it a dimension table or a fact table? Let's take a look and tell me. Is it a fact table or a dimension table?
Fact table.
Fact tables. Okay. So it's a fact table because if you see, it has revenue, stock, price, sales quantity, and all of these systems, which are known as measures. Okay. And importantly, it has the details of certain measures, like whatever I have mentioned, these revenues, stock available, and the price. So all these things are measures, and it is called as measure table or a fact table. Okay. So the difference between the fact table and dimension table, I hope it is clear. Okay. Now one more question for you all. Now all these order details are characterized by one primary key. And what is that? Or identify by one primary key, what is that?
The product ID.
Product ID. Okay. Anything else? So I can see product ID. Okay, yeah.
Or order ID.
Eh,
If not
yeah,
order ID, it is product ID. But
yeah. So there are certain criteria for the column to be a primary key. Correct?
yes,
Okay. Let me just check that. Okay. Let's suppose here the whole data is actually identified by this order ID. Okay. And we are just supposing that this order ID is a primary key. And for this particular fact table, and if you look at the order ID, and if we try to think about what's the next logical way to go on to clean the data, so what are the criterias for a column to be a primary key? Okay. Do you guys know? Okay, let me just explain this. So primary key should not be having a duplicate values, correct? This is the first criteria. And the primary key should be unique, and the primary key should not be blank or null, correct? Tell me yes or no.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So I will repeat it again. Primary key should not be having a duplicate values. The primary key should not be unique. Sorry, should be unique. And the primary key should not be blank or null. Okay. So if you look at this, okay, the NA values which are seen here, you guys can see this. And if you see the corresponding values, okay, from the other columns, if I will just scroll to the right, so you guys can see all the values for these rows are also don't make any sense, right? So they are also NA values, right? So would it would be not wrong to delete these two NA values, these two rows. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay. So yeah, we can see this. So it is not wrong to remove both these rows, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So what I will do, I will just go to this drop down. Okay. Drop down menu of order ID, and therein, if I scroll down, okay, I can see all the unique values, and the column has So if I go, okay, it's not working. So if I go down to the bottom, I will be having this NA value. So what I will do, I will simply uncheck the NA value. Okay. And then I will click on OK. And now you see a new step has been added here. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So and what is this new step? The new step is where you have filtered those NA values. So those NA values are not all existing now in this column, in this order ID column. Now that is about the NA values. Okay. Now next thing is we also need to make sure the primary key does not have any duplicate values. Okay. Now you can see there any duplicate values in this column, in the primary key column.
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have in the third and fourth, correct?
Yes.
Having same things, right? So if you have a look at their corresponding values, let's just move to the right. They are also basically duplicated, or they are also same, right? Okay, so sorry. So if you see here, these three are same. That is row number 3, 4, and 5. So all these values are also same. These columns, these one, and all of these are same. So it makes sense to remove the duplicate rows. Okay. So here, if so How can I will just select this. We can select the columns by just clicking on it, like as I'm doing right now. If you will click on it, it will get selected. So I will just click on this order ID and it will get selected. Then I will go to the remove rows option. Okay. And here what I can do is I can select, you guys can see remove duplicates. Okay. So once that is done, let me just click on it. Okay. Those duplicate rows have been removed. Okay. So we have removed the NA values and we have removed the duplicate values, and previously we have already removed the all the blank rows. So now all the mandatory steps have been done for a column to be a primary key. Okay. So now let's think of the other things that need to be cleaned in here. Okay. So if you look at the third column, okay, and if I will click on this drop down, okay. So here the values that it contains, all the values that are there in the third column are either blanks or NA or the null values. Can you see that?
Yes.
So does it make sense for us to delete this column completely? Yes, because all these are blank, NA, and null. So it doesn't contain any uh, valuable values, correct? Okay, so we can remove this. And one more thing, let me tell you, whenever you are into any industry or project, before deleting the columns, always have a word with your data engineers. Okay, because most of the times these kinds of functions are done by the ETL engineers or the data engineers. Okay, so in real time scenario, you will come very rarely. That is, sometimes you have to accomplish all these Power Query steps. Usually, all these transformations they will do in the backend, especially if you are into some bigger project. Okay, so all these steps will be done in the backend, and what you get into the Power BI will be almost ready-made stuffs. Okay, which is clean data. Okay, yeah. And but understanding this is also important, because if they don't do it from the backend, all the data engineers or the ETL engineers, they won't work on the cleaning the data. You will be having to do it in Power BI. So understanding of the Power Query data is very much essential. Hope that is clear.
Yes, sir. So, but also do we have to delete the null values as well? Because in the next iteration, if the data gets updated, data set get updated, null
Yes,
value
yes,
might.
that's why I said we have to check all these things from the data engineers or the blank values, or whenever whenever you have a project, so there is a FRD document. Okay, so functional requirement document, which is that is called, and in that document all the requirements will be there. Okay, so you have to work according to that, at which table should be deleted, sorry, which column should be deleted, or which rows, or do we have to keep the null values, or do we have to remove the null values. So we have to do take all these inputs from the data engineers or whatever there will be the post. Okay.
Understood, sir.
Okay, so yeah. So where we are. Okay, so now let me remove this column. Okay, just cancel all this. And the removal of this column is very simple. All you need to do is you need to click on this. So first of all, you have to select this column, whichever you have to delete. Okay. and you need to click on remove columns and then simply click on remove columns. Okay, so that particular column will be removed, but yeah, there are more ways to do it. Let me show you how. Okay, so first of all, I will undo this step. So if you guys can see here is a cross mark. Okay, so if I just cross click on this, that step will be undo. Okay, so now let's say there are 2 3 columns which you want to keep. Suppose you want to keep these 3 or 4 columns. Okay, so I will just select all these columns by using control and select. Okay, is it fine how we can select the columns?
Yes.
Okay, and then you can go to the remove columns. Okay, and there you can select remove other columns. So what will happen? It just load. Oh, yeah. So so what will happen? Apart from these selected columns, the rest of the columns will be deleted. Okay. So this is how we can do that thing as well. So, but I do not want that. So I will just cancel this step. Okay. And yeah, you can always cancel the applied step and go back to the previous step, like I have shown you here by selecting this cross mark. Not just that, there is one more way to delete the unwanted columns. Let me show you that. You can just simply go to the choose columns. Okay, and in choose column options, you have 2 options: choose column and go to column. So if we I will select choose columns, and there what so what we can do here directly you can choose those columns which you want to keep. Okay, okay, and the rest I will just unselect. Like suppose I'm uncheck these some columns, particular columns, and then I will click on OK. Okay, so the rest of the columns which were unchecked have been removed. Okay, but let me clear this step as well. Okay, right now I just want to delete this column. Um, I want to just delete this column. So what I will do, I will just click on this and I will go to the remove columns. So, and I will select remove columns. Okay. So this is how we can delete this, uh, delete the unwanted columns. Okay, fine. And so I showed you how to delete the columns in different ways, and let's also try. Let me also show you how to maybe rename the columns. Okay, so that is very simple actually. For example, if you want to, sorry, for example, if you want to, what I can say, you just need to, you want to rename this column, you just need to double click on this column name, and you can just simply, here, if I just want to give the S capital, and that is done. Okay, this is very simple, renaming the column. Okay, okay, fine. And now let me show you one very important thing that is necessary to be understood. Okay, and if you click on this thing, advanced editor. Okay, okay, now just trying having a look at it. Tell me what is happening here. Can you tell me? Take a look.
So it shows all the applied steps here again. And
Yes, correct. Yeah. Basically, this is nothing but a code which has been generated. And yeah, if you remember, I have not written this code, right? So this code has been generated from the Power Query editor itself. And if you look at each and every line here, can you see the first line what it mentions? It mentions the source where the file is coming from. Then if you look at the second step, so what is this first thing that is in the second step? The Here we can see that here the first thing is the source, okay, what we did in the first step, and then we remove top 4 rows, which is also mentioned here. And actually the code for that is for removing the top rows is this table.escape. Okay, the actual M code for that is table.escape. And this source which you are saying right, what is that? It is the title of the yeah, this one, sorry. And here this source which you are saying right, what is that? It is the title of the previous step. And how many rows you want to skip? This is mentioned here, 4. Okay, so now let's go to the third step, that is this name as promoted headers. But let's say what are the actual code to promote here headers, that is table dot promote headers. Okay, so from the previous step, and the previous step was remove top rows. Okay, so that has been mentioned here, the previous step. Now if I go to the next step, what is it? We remove the blank rows. Okay, and it starts with the previous step, which is promoted hairs, and the actual step, that is which we have removed the blank rows. Okay, so this is the thing. Another thing to be noted, that in interviews, so basically this is nothing but M language or the mashup language. Okay, so in the interviews you might come across people or interviewer who might ask you, have you worked on the M language? Okay, or basically this code which you are saying, this is also known as M code or mashup code or mashup language. Okay, which is the engine on which the Power Query editor works. Okay, now the thing about that is you can never remember all these M codes, because presently there are more than 700 M codes which the Power BI has, or that is listed in Microsoft Power BI website. So we cannot actually remember all of those. But what I will do, I will give you a Word file. Yeah, this is a M function file which contains the details of the M codes which are predominantly used or often used. So what you can do is you can go through that, and in the interviews, if they ask you such questions like have you worked on the M code or mashup language code, you can tell them yes, you have worked on it, and I have used predominantly most widely used M functions. Okay, so you guys can refer this. Okay, you guys can refer this thing. Okay, these are the most widely used M functions, and I will share that. Okay, so don't worry about that. Okay, so what we discussed just now is about the mashup language, or it is also called M code. And remember, M code is only applicable in where? It is only applicable in Power Query Editor. Okay, and nowhere else. We come across M code only when we talk about the Power Query editor, because in Power BI desktop there is no M code. It's only for Power Query editor. We don't have any M code for this Power BI desktop. We will counter this M code in only Power Query editor. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So this is about M code, and as I said, I will share with you that file, which will be containing that most usually used M codes. You can go through them, and that will also be helpful for you if you are planning to clear PL 300 certification. So I hope you all know the PL 300 certifications or not.
I'm not aware of it. So.
Okay. So see, the Microsoft, they themselves offer this certification, which is called as PL 300. The advantage of this is that if you're looking for jobs, you will get more interviews if you have this certification. That is for sure. And if you are already into the jobs, this certification will lead you to the pay raise. Okay. And the thing about this is if you clear this, Microsoft will give you a certification. And in that certification, it will be mentioned as Microsoft Certified Power BI Data Analyst Associate. Yes. Okay. So if you clear it, you will be a Microsoft Certified Data Analyst Associate. But there is one constraint with this. Okay. That is its validity is only for 1 year. But nonetheless, within that year, you can make a good use of it. It will add weightage to your resume, and maybe you can clear it once more next year. Okay. So in terms of INR, I think the examination fee for this is somewhere around 4,800 to 5,000 INR. Yes. And if you want to clear the PL 300, this course which is going on, okay, that will be really helpful for you, for you guys. And not just that, the file which I'm sharing regarding the mashup language code, that also will be helpful. Okay, so this is all about this thing, uh, PL 300 certification. Okay, now I will just cancel this. Okay, so now let me show you one more thing. Let's say you want to rearrange the order of the columns. For example, if you let's say you want to bring something this column to anywhere else, so you can just drag and drop down like this. Okay, so I will just do that thing again. Okay, that also can be done, but the thing is that also it will be recorded as a new step. Okay, so I will just remove this step so you can easily rearrange the order of the columns. Okay, okay, so yeah. So, and yeah, as I have done certain transformations, now now if I want to go to the Power BI desktop to see whether they have worked or not. Okay, so let's try doing that. So for that, what you need to do is to click on this close and apply. And once you do that, okay, what will happen is the imported data which you have imported from CSV file, it goes through all the transformation steps that you have done in the Power BI query editor, and then it's get loaded into the Power BI desktop. Okay. And in Power BI desktop, you can view the same if you go to this table view. Let it load. Okay. See, can you see this? This is visible in clean form on, okay, in Power BI desktop. Now let me show you what was the actual type of file we have imported. Let me just go to this. Let me just open this. So see, now what is happening in Power BI desktop, this file, okay, is going through all the transformation steps, okay. Which transformation step? The steps which we have done in Power Query Editor, and then it's get loaded into the Power BI desktop in here, okay. So all these steps, we can say they will be the part of kind of an automation. And let's say if you add any new data, okay, okay, in here in Excel, okay, or if there are new rows or records are added, and if you okay, so if you have added some new rows or data like that in here, okay, and in here in Power BI desktop in the home tab, if you click on this refresh button, okay, what will happen? Again, the data will be entered, but again, that will go through all the transformation steps, and then it will come into the Power BI desktop. Okay, so let me repeat this again. If you add some any new records or the data in here, that will not reflect here directly, but to reflect that, you have to click on this refresh button, and those data will go through all the transformation steps and all these things, and then it will come into this picture. Okay, is it clear?
So we don't have to perform all the steps we have repeated again, right? Like once
Yes, correct. Yes, it will automatically do all those stuff in the backend.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah, and this need to be sure that all the steps which we are doing in the Power BI desktop here, those data which are taking from which is imported from this thing. So here it will not affect the real data. Okay, you can see this here. These are unaffected. All those things are the transformation and the things. All these things are done in this Power BI desktop and the Power Query Editor. Okay. So yeah, let me show you one more thing. Let's say, for example, so yeah, so this was the data which we have imported, and if you place this file somewhere else, if you change its location, for example, just let me cut this, okay, and I will just put it here. Okay, sorry, it's already open. Let me close this first. Mm, this is one. I will just cut it. And I will just go here and I will just paste it. Okay. Oh, have I closed the transform data? Okay. Yeah. Let me just open the transform data again. So you will see a weird thing. Now you can see this red line over here. This red line is actually a sign of the error. And let me try to refresh this. See, now you can see what it says. Could not find the file. See here. So what you need to do is you need to change the data source, and how to do that? You need to go to the, where is that data source setting? And here you guys can select this, change source. Okay. You need to click on this browse. You can select the exact location where you have kept the data, and I will select this and I will click on this open. Okay, and then I will finally click on this. Okay, then I will click on this close. Okay, and then I will click on this fresh. You see, all the data are back, but although there are some errors which we haven't cleaned, so that's why we are getting this red line. This errors might be due to non-uniformity of the data, the blanks, and all these things. But we will go through them later because this data is not completely clean. Okay, so it has certain blank values, certain columns which need to be edited because if you see this sales quantity, okay, here in the sales quantity, and it is supposed to be what kind of data type? Sales quantity. The quantity generally gives you what kind of data, will be generally what kind of data types? A string or a number? Can you tell me?
Number.
Number, correct. Okay, a number, right? But here, if you see, it says 0 cells, 5 cells, 2 cells, and all the things, 2 cells, 1 cells, and all this thing. This is not in its original data type. It is in string data type. So that will not make sense. So it is still needs further refining of the data, and that we will do in the next class. Okay. Any doubt or any confusion regarding this class?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. And yeah, I will request everyone to please register yourself on a Graphy platform. So from the next class, from tomorrow, we will be having class on the Graphy only. Okay.
Okay.
And
So
yeah,
this is
that's
my
yeah.
first class. So
Mm-hmm.
where do I refer for the previous sessions? Like, and how
I
many
will
topics were completed?
just ping on the Tanvir's number.
Okay.
I will share the previous recorded versions and all these things. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. Fine
Thank you.
then. We will connect. Yeah. Welcome. We will connect tomorrow. Till then, bye and take care.
Yeah.